All right, let's see if we have audio and video. I don't think Google Hangout or Google in general wants me to continue doing these live streams. I don't think I had any issues on Monday, or really the past 3 live streams that I've done with Google Hangout just completely going offline. But this is the second time. Patrick, welcome, buddy. So I do apologize about Google Hangouts technical difficulties that are happening this morning, but unfortunately they are beyond my control. But yeah, I think Ethereum Classic on that 12-hour chart is looking a little dangerous. Considering RSI is at 91.3, RSI is way, way too high. I mean, this is an overbought territory, and it's getting a little scary now, considering RSI on that 12-hour chart is pretty high. Let's see what RSI is on the 1-day. If I can switch to the 1-day chart. Yeah, Bitfinex has definitely been having issues the past day and a half. Their charting system seems to be lagging a little bit. You know, for me to change the time frame, it doesn't change the time frame at all. Like, I mean, I'm switching it to a half an hour, 15 minutes. It still wants to stay in that 12-hour time frame. And then issues logging in this morning. Coinbase had the same issue yesterday as well too. And I was like, man, maybe this is the ploy for Coinbase to steal everybody's coins, not allow anybody to log in. You know, people still have their stop loss. They start taking out stop losses. They start buying up everybody's coins. But let's see. I wish I can get to the 1-day chart to see what the RSI is on that. Let me hit refresh. Yep, definitely issues with Bitfinex today. But I don't know if you guys, I was talking earlier on the first video before Google Hangout completely went off air, but I was talking about GBG. And I don't know if you guys heard what I was saying about GBG and how I got trapped in that trade. And if you guys didn't hear it, let me know and I will repeat that, considering the live stream is working properly now. And this happens to every trader. It can happen to anybody. So that's why I mean, you got to be careful with some of these altcoins, not going all in. I only risked 0.15 or 0.14 or whatever it was, but it definitely came back and bit me, and didn't make that run that I would, or the pump that I was expecting. For it to only last 5 minutes, that's way too short of a pump. Coinbase can go suck it. Indeed, indeed, Patrick. My holding at the moment is just really what I have left over on Ethereum Classic. Let's take a look, and she's dipping. So the RSI was too high on the 12-hour chart. But I have 125 Ethereums left over from the purchase at $4.50. I originally purchased 500, and then I from the original purchase of 1,071 at $7, I have 125 Ethereums left from that. So for a total of 250, that's really the only thing that I'm holding right now, personally for myself. But I did buy Doji coins for my kid. He's actually getting into cryptocurrency. He's only 7.5 years old, but he'll tell me he knows about Zcash, he knows about Ethereum, he knows about Bitcoin, of course, and Dash. So he's always talking about those 4 cryptocurrencies and mentioning them until he was looking at Poloniex and the list, and of course Doji happened to be at the top because it was the biggest gainer. And he was like, "Does that say dog?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's Doji coin." He was like, "I want to get some Doji." And I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Do you have any money?" He's like, "I do." And I was like, "Then I'll buy you some Doji." So I bought him some Doji. I think it was like 100,000. I have to look at it. I think I purchased 100,000 for him. All right, it's Ethereum Classic is starting to correct. So, from that 1633, I think it was, and the RSI was just too high. I mean, I don't, it's not going to sustain an RSI above 90, and for it to get to 91, I mean, it was already in oversold territory or overbought territory, and really the people that fueled it, up are the people basically fear out of, that had the FOMO, that are, fear of missing out. They completely piled in, caused that price to go up, and then what do you know? It's correcting. So we'll see if I can get into the chart what the RSI is currently doing. Yeah, ECS. I think you and I briefly talked about it. What coin was it? Ripple. Ripple. I mean, if you look at the overall chart of Ripple, it looks just like Bitcoin. I think a lot of these cryptocurrencies um, have that chart look of what Bitcoin did. That might be the sign of the bubble. 2017 is like two huge green candles. Yeah, you're right, man. And I think it's that you're right. It's scary. It is scary. I said it earlier on the one video. It is the scariest thing. I have that. I don't really suffer from fear of missing out because I try not to chase things, but I'm a human, and I did with GBG. Um, but I have that FOLP, fear of losing profit if I'm in the profit. And for it to get up this high this quick, it's way too soon, and that's a scary part. So really, in actuality, I think this is let me look at it on the 15-minute chart. But ever since yesterday, I think this is probably the best correction that we're seeing on Ethereum Classic. Now, it's not a correction for me to get into it at this price point, but for it to be down, $1.40, from that 1630 or 1635 price point, yeah, that's a nice correction there. Now, if she breaks 14, that could be a little scary. Then she could really come down and test that $11, $10 level possibly. I'm surprised they haven't. I mean, they definitely pump red. They definitely pump red coin already. Um, but they're, with a lot of these coins, I mean, they're just, they'll pump them, they'll consolidate, they'll pump them again. It's a trend. And basically, people that get in at the high and then it corrects down and have a nice little correction, you know, they're getting scared. They're getting out at a loss as more people are buying up that bottom for another rip up to the upside. All right, so the 15-minute candlestick doesn't look pretty good. Let's see, what did it touch? 1455, 1453. From that 1635, let's just say. Yeah, I think in order for Ethereum Classic to get up to that, $20, $25 level, it's got to correct from here. It's got to correct. It's got to consolidate, have a nice healthy pullback, have a nice healthy uptick, and not this crazy, nothing but green candle. I mean, look, I think the 1-day chart was it's scary. I know we briefly looked at it. Let me look at it again. Like ECS said, it was basically like two large green candles, um, for the past 2 days. And of course, the chart doesn't want to load properly. But let's see, what is moving? What's volume looking today on Bittrex? Pivx, man. I never expected this to be under 40,000. But considering nobody's really talking about Pivx anymore, at least not that I see, that's a good time to kind of consider it. The hype is dying down. It's going to start consolidating. It might be a good time to take a little bit of position. If it dips more, take a little bit more of a position. But I think it's getting to that consolidation state right now, and people are going to start stacking, those coins and just start buying them up cheap. And it's only going to really be a matter of time before then people start talking about Pivx and how cheap it is. And once that hype starts again, easy that Pivx could see a 100%, a 200% move. Yeah, I don't know, man. Pivx is just, and I'm glad I never bought it, considering everybody was talking about Pivx. I've had so many comments on some of the videos asking me basically why I'm not buying Pivx. I just really never had any interest for it at that high price. I mean, it ran up so high, and that's exactly what's going to happen with a lot of these altcoins. What basically happened in Pivx, how high it ran up, and then basically the crash down was even crazier. It's going to happen to these altcoins. It's just a matter of when is that going to happen? Somebody with big pockets that's been in this, when they start unloading, and people see that, there's a big seller and he's causing the price to crash, everybody else starts getting out and causes this that crazy domino effect. And there are going to be people that are going to be like, you know what, I think it's a great company. I'm going to hold on to it. And they keep holding and holding and hoping that it goes up. And what do you know? It just keeps grinding and grinding down south. Jonathan, nice. 1470 USDT is where you got out. Did you sell everything or are you still holding some? Well, I mean, Jay, really, ETC still at the top. Yes, it's under 16 bucks for sure. But I mean, 1480, you're still at the top there. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for another buy point, but I'm waiting for that $8. Anything between $8 to $7, I think is a great entry. For me to chase it up this high, and go back down to 10, that's a little scary. I mean, I would have to cut my losses very quick. And the game for me is really preserve the capital that I currently have and preserve it as best as I can. I mean, I would. I mean, I got funds sitting there, waiting for a purchase. But I think ETC at this level, in my opinion, is too high for me. But I said the same thing about Ethereum at 118. That was too high. At 88, I said that was too high. Jay, you were arbitraging between Bittrex and Poloniex. I haven't really looked at the price difference between Bittrex and Poloniex. I've been kind of doing arbitrage from Bitfinex to GDAX, and I almost did it the other day with Ethereum because really there was a price difference of 20 bucks on Ethereum. Um, when Ethereum was, I think, at 156 on Bitfinex, it was like 175 on Coinbase, and I almost bought it to do the arbitrage. And I'm glad I didn't buy it because as I was ready to buy it on Bitfinex and transfer it, and that transfer could take about 15 minutes. Within 20 minutes, the price was coming down on GDAX. So you really have to time it perfectly. And if you can't time it perfectly, there's no sense of doing that arbitrage, especially if the coins take for a while to transfer. And, when I transferred Litecoins it was only 100 Litecoins from GDAX to Bitfinex, it took 4.5 hours for that transfer to go through. But then when I made the transfer back, same 100 coins, because then the price kind of flipped and was higher on GDAX than Bitfinex, I made that transfer of 100 Litecoins back to GDAX. It took 15 minutes. So 15 minutes isn't bad, but you also have the risk of it taking 4.5 hours to an hour. And then really arbitrage is a failure. There's no sense of doing that because the price could definitely fluctuate. Now, if the price still maintains what it was maintaining before you attempted to do the arbitrage, then that's great, but it's kind of the risk that you're taking. But man, 2Give, I remember 2Give, I bought this at like 30 Satoshis, and I think I threw 0.1 BTC at it. What do you know? They pumped it up to 180. That's crazy. Yeah, so it definitely pays off with some of these cheap coins. If you don't have, if you don't fear losing that money or just having it be really not worth much except for what you really put in for a good amount of time, it doesn't hurt to throw $100 at it. And that would have been probably a month ago if people were doing that, just throwing $100 at these crazy little tiny altcoins and saying, you know what, I got $1,000 to lose. I don't really care. I'm gonna just throw $100 at 10 of these coins and see what happens. And that $100 investment turns into a $1,000 investment, basically, or profit, considering a lot of these have gone up 1,000%, tenfolds. Buying at 67 and selling at 74, dude, that's great. That is perfect. I mean, $7 profit per coin, and that's exactly what I was looking for. When I was looking to do arbitrage, I was looking to purchase like 100, and then just arbitrage them, move them over, sell them at that $7-10 profit. I mean, that's an easy $700 there, as long as the transfer goes through in the right amount of time, or the GDAX or whatever site that you're, whatever exchange that you're transferring it to, doesn't have a denial of service attack. So do I think about selling ETC? Let's see, RSI 86 on the 1-day chart. Let's see, as long as I can switch the time frame on these candlesticks. It all depends too. Who's asking me that? Let's see. Jay. It all depends. I mean, what was your entry? How many did you purchase? Are you comfortable with the profit right now? It doesn't hurt to lock in some of the profit. I'll always say that. If you're in the profit, lock a little bit in. I made the mistake by selling more of the coins at a lesser profit than right now. Right now, I have basically not too many coins than what I previously had, and I'm selling those little amount of coins at a higher profit. Really should be the other way around. I should have sold just little increments at a very minimal profit and then still kept majority of the coins for a higher profit. I should have really done it the opposite way. I mean, lesson learned. Still profit is still a profit, but it could definitely have been a lot more profit. And I try not to think about that and do the math, but it could have definitely been a lot more profit that I would have made if I would have done it that way. But I mean, always lock in profit. There's nothing wrong with that, because really with these cryptocurrencies, I mean, they can go any direction. I mean, right now, if ETC dips to that 1433, I mean, it's down $2. If you have 100 coins, that's $200 right there. So for me, I mean, I'm not down, but I miss out on a profit of $500 basically, because I have 250 of them. Jay, you've been in since 20 on ETC, $20. So you bought this long. I mean, I don't remember. The charts don't even go back to that far, to be honest with you. At least the charts that I've been looking at. I don't know if you're talking about that you bought ETC at $20. How about ETC to buy at 1306? I mean, if I can get access to these charts, I can kind of look and see, what the current candlesticks are doing to determine whether it's a move to the downside or not. Because really, you got to look at those candlesticks. Where are they opening in comparison to the previous candlesticks closing price? But unfortunately, Bitfinex does not want to load the chart for me at this moment. And to have a correction of $2, that's not bad. It's healthy for it. It needs to do that. It can't just keep going up and up and up and up. There were many times yesterday I was thinking about selling. I thought about selling at $12 because it hit 12 and then started dipping, to like 11.40, 11.30, and I was like, all right, well maybe that's the top. Let me put a sell order in, and I would have a sell order in the book, and then I would kind of watch the price action and watch the price action, and I'm like, well, it's going to break out above that 12. And what do you know? I cancel the order and it breaks out above 12. But yeah, it could have easily executed at 12. And then what do you know? I mean, it ran up to $16. Jonathan, you need better charts. Um, take a look at, let me actually minimize this here. Take a look at cryptowatt.ch. That's CRYPTOWAT.ch. They're not going to have every cryptocurrency on there, but they do definitely have a good charting system. And I mean, there's a bunch of other good ones out there too. But I do like CryptoWatch. It's free to use, and it has the coins that I'm interested in. But if we look at a ETC on Bittrex on CryptoWatch, and of course I still have the support lines from prior back probably a couple days ago, and of course it's nowhere close to hitting support at all. Now it's making newer highs, so it's going to have new support lines. Yeah, well, I don't know, Jay. I mean, we'll see what this thing does, to be honest with you. It really hasn't started breaking down yet, and I wish I could get into my actual trading platform and look at some of the indicators. And as long as it allows me to change the time frame, I'm really still stuck at a 1 day. Okay, here we go. 15-minute candlestick. It's switching. 131 buy wall on ETC Bittrex. Let's see what ETC is doing on Bittrex. Yeah, and that buy wall, depending how far down it is, I mean, it could be a fake wall, to be honest with you. Now, if it's very close to the price, then more than likely it's not a fake wall because it's going to be very close to getting executed. But you definitely got to be careful of these walls that are, down lower than the actual price or not even close to the actual price, because then it could be a fake wall. But 20 watchers right now, that is awesome. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. That is impressive for me to see 20 people listening to this live stream or watching this live stream. And if you're new, definitely say what's up. Don't be shy. And definitely click on that subscribe button as well too, so that you're notified every time a video is uploaded, as well as a little post notification. And that's YouTube's notification to notify you every time a video has been uploaded, or I end up scheduling a live stream. But you can definitely connect with us as well too. We are on Steemit, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, Snapchat. I just started the Steemit account yesterday, so there's a couple little contents, prior videos that I uploaded on there. So if you do have a Steemit account, definitely check us out. But let's take a look. That's 131 buy wall. Where are you? And if you guys are using Bittrex, be very careful. Some things can be a little misleading, to be honest with you. So on the buy side, we have about 13.18 BTC in volume. On the sell side, we have 1,674,378 in BTC volume. That's very misleading. So I wouldn't even look at the BTC volume. I would actually look at the actual volume. And this is 2GIV that we're looking at, cryptocurrency 2GIV. So if we're really looking at the actual coins that are being traded, on the bit side, there are, looks like 48.9 million on the buy side, and on the sell side, there are about, it looks like 36.1 million. So don't really pay attention to the BTC in volume. Actually look at the actual volume in the actual coin size. Because what a lot of people are going to do is they're going to sell a very small amount of coins at a higher price to cause the BTC volume to go up. So always just look at the actual coins in volume. But let's take a look at that wall that was mentioned earlier. Now, unless they took it off, I don't really see it. Actually, I'm looking at different cryptocurrency. It would help if I actually looked at ETC. And for some reason, ETC does not want to pull up when I just search for it. So let's go by volume because I'm sure ETC has a good amount of volume. Yeah, ETC doesn't look too bad at all, especially on the buy side. So on the buy side, we have about 4 million, over 4 million. Let's just say 4.1 million. But on the sell side, I mean, only 600, only 67,500. So on the buy side, I mean, they're stacking up, especially on Bittrex. Of course, price action is going to be different. Prices are going to be a little different on other exchanges. Volume is going to be a little different, but on Bittrex, they're definitely stacking up on the buy side. Whereas on the sell side, there aren't too many stacking up. So, I mean, this could have a bigger move to the upside. But let's see, I know I missed some of these comments. I do apologize. Yeah, I think, Jonathan, we're all looking for a buy-in on ATC, and just got to wait for that healthy correction. Um, I'd like to wait for that $8, to be honest with you. But we'll see what price action looks like, what buy-in looks like. If there's more sellers than buyers that are stacking up, or if bots start manipulating this thing. But yes, you could easily drop. Let's see, at 71,000. So about 150 TBTCs. I'm sorry, 150 ETCs at 71 or 710,000. That's really not too big on the sell side. 306 at 72. I mean, really, I'm looking for something that's like 1,000 at a specific price point. 658 at 740,000. What about the buy side? But definitely a lot more. I mean, it's completely one-sided. If you're looking at the actual volume of ETC, not the BTC volume, because BTC is very misleading. I see 356 on the buy side of BTC volume, and 1100 on the sell side on BTC volume, and those two things can be very misleading. And if you were just looking at those, you'd be like, "Oh, there's more sellers that are stacking up than buyers. Let me get out." But that's definitely not the case at all. I mean, we're looking at 4.1 million on the buy side, 70,000, 71,000 on the sell side. I mean, that is completely lopsided. So definitely good advantages to a more upside move, especially on Bittrex, considering that's where buyers and sellers are stacking up. But let's take a look at Bitfinex in the full order book and kind of just to have a better idea. So let's see, on the buy side, 727,552 total in the book. And then on the sell side, 3,462 that are in the order book. So those are still lopsided, 7-1 basically, and advantages of the buy side. Now, as long as they're not fake walls, to be honest with you, yeah, this definitely has more of a move to the upside. But if they're fake walls that are being put up, then they're being put up for a reason so that they can get out of their bigger position on the ask side, on the sell side. Yeah, and if you guys find this video helpful or this live stream helpful, please click on that thumbs up, click on that like button, as well as subscribing as well too. I think yesterday when I looked at the subscriber count, it was, what was it at, like 609, and I think we surpassed 625, I think, or something to that extent. So it's a lot of growth in a very short amount of time, and I definitely appreciate you guys sticking with me and joining these live streams whenever I do them. Without you guys joining, I probably wouldn't do these live streams, to be honest with you. All right, let's see what some of you guys are saying. 1460 looks like new resistance. I don't know. I'll have to definitely take a look at it. But if it bounced from that 1460, yes. But it all depends on, did it bounce on good volume or did it just bounce on very little volume? Jonathan, looks like you sold at the bottom. I think you sold at what, 1460? I gotta scroll back up to the comments. 1470, I think you sold. So I wouldn't really call it the bottom. I mean, you sold at the bottom of the correction, but that not at the bottom of the actual price point or price movement. ETC is going back up. The drop is too big. I don't know. I didn't. In my opinion, I didn't think the drop was too big. And after it drops to 13, yes, that's a good drop of $3. As long as I can get to my chart. And yes, and I do use CryptoWatch, and that is my primary charting tool that I use. Where to buy? That's the question. You mean in the sense of what exchange to use? Yeah, I would just be careful with some of the exchanges. I mean, they're shady. I mean, Poloniex is shady. I don't think I would use Poloniex to do majority of my trading. Now, I only use Poloniex and Bittrex just to purchase things for my kids and kind of let them sit there and hold. So, whatever's in Bittrex, whatever's in Poloniex is really not mine to trade. I mean, I trade it, but it's not mine to trade. So I don't really heavily look at it and analyze it on a day-to-day basis. The GBG and the Doji will be sitting there for a while. I do have a very high sell price. I think I put Doji at it was something ridiculous, to be honest with you guys. It was 99,999 Satoshis. That's what I put it in the order book just for the hell of it. Yeah, it needs to break that 1633. And this is a healthy correction. It's not a major correction. It's healthy. It's got to dip back down. It just can't keep going up. But I mean, if you guys are really looking at this chart and analyzing it, I mean, with every upward move, it drops just a little bit and consolidates. Another upward move drops a little bit and consolidates. Another upward move drops a little bit, consolidates. Upward move drops a little bit, consolidates. So I mean, these are basically steps to the upside. I mean, it's just basically being walked up to newer highs. So, and that's exactly what's happening now. It hit that 1634, let's just say, and it's got to pull back, consolidate, and have another upward move. So 1460, you're saying, let me see, what was that comment? 1460 looks like new resistance or new support. I would say new support. Yeah, it hasn't it can't be a resistance. 1633 or 34 is a resistance, that's for sure. But I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm waiting for a major dump on this to happen. And like I said, I mean, this could happen anytime when everybody's sleeping. 3:30 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. It definitely seems to happen before 7 a.m. Especially Eastern time zone, New York time zone. That's kind of what I've seen. But man, this is tough to determine. If it does come down, what could it possibly come down to? And I think, for me to actually even consider getting back in, it would have to get to that 950 level. And then I would definitely, keep an eye on it to see if it's going to drop to that $8 level that I would definitely be purchasing at. But for me to even consider taking a position in this, it's got to get to that 950. Break under 10, get to 950, and then I will heavily watch it to say, okay, you know what? It's getting close to that $8 level. It's time for me to take a position. And Jonathan, I mean, a lot of times these cryptocurrencies. Let me see your comment. I think I just kind of missed it and scrolled up. A lot of comments I missed, and so I do apologize. Yeah, so your comment was, you thought it was going to tank. A lot of times they end up doing the opposite of what you think they're going to do. So if you think it's going to go up, it ends up going down. If you think it's going to drop, it does a complete opposite. But yeah, it's happened to me many times. Stefan, hey, thank you, bud. I appreciate the comment, and I definitely appreciate seeing a new name on here. And you weren't shy at all. There's a lot of shy people that will join this live stream, but they won't chat. So thank you, Stephen, for chatting. And I appreciate that you actually like this live stream. And yeah, I'll do my best to keep up the good work. Let's see what else you're saying. Polonius is sucking today. Deposit delay for Ethereum taking hours after hundreds of confirmations. Wow. Yeah, if you have that many confirmations, it shouldn't take that long. Yeah, I think a lot of us have gone for something, and then something else kind of goes parabolic. I was in ETC for a while from $4.30, and then $7, and of course I sold, majority of my coins at a lower profit. Still, it was a profit, but it was a lower profit. And Stephen, it's great that you mentioned that. You basically stating that, and I'm reading these comments for the people that are actually watching the video after the fact, after it's been uploaded to YouTube, because really you can't view the comments that are being left in the chat. But Stephen's basically indicating that ETC is looking good for long term. He's thinking about 20% of F value or more, and that Ethereum development team can jump ship to ETC. It is not cheaper to run. So, and I briefly talked about this I can't remember if it was in yesterday's video or the day before yesterday's video. Um, and I was basically indicating that there's no reason that ETC should be under 10 bucks, considering how much of a run Ethereum has made. And really, anything Ethereum can do, Ethereum Classic can copy. I mean, it's a fork of each other. So there was no reason that Ethereum Classic should have been stuck, in that $7.50, $8 range. It couldn't break out at all. And I've said it in the past videos that this pump has to happen because it's completely undervalued. It should be nowhere close, to the current price level that it's at, considering ETC has gone up to $190. So I can still see Ethereum Classic going up to 50 bucks or 30 bucks, somewhere in the range of 30 to 50 bucks. I can definitely see that. Let's see. You're asking me, you don't want to trade for an hour on it on Poloniex, I'm assuming. Is that what you're talking about? And honestly, I mean, yes, a $2 swing is big. But that's only, let's just say it made a $2 swing to the downside. Now, if it only had gone up, $3 and it made that swing downwards of $2, yes, that's a huge downward swing. I completely understand. But considering it's come from $8 all the way up to 16, 16.33, whatever it is, having a $2 drop, a $3 drop is not that big, to be honest with you, considering where it's come from. Now, if she definitely dips to, let's just say, 11 bucks, yes, that's a big drop. From the bottom where it was to the top. So from 8 to the 16, I mean, that's 100%. So I mean, for it to come down $2 to $3, or maybe even 4, to give up 50% of the growth that it had, that's completely normal. To be honest with you, it's completely normal for me, and I wouldn't mind seeing that, to be honest with you, to get in for another position, even though I still have a position. I mean, if it dips to that 12, that's a very healthy correction because it's dipping basically 50% of what it's moved up. And I got to get to some of these comments. I do apologize, guys. Yeah, I mean, you have all different types of traders, Stefan. You have people that are trading on value, people that are trading on fundamentals, on technical analysis. Um, yeah, you have all types of traders. You got new traders coming in and don't know anything about cryptocurrency, but they're just like, whoa, this thing is moving. You know, let me get in before I miss out. And that's what's causing these price increase. Yeah, I would look at a different platform, to be honest with you. I mean, I have 5 different platforms that I use, and it's never good to keep everything at once. And I was a little nervous, to be honest with you. I mean, I had $13,000 that I was maintaining on Bitfinex, and I was like, that's a little scary to have that much money sitting on Bitfinex. Like I was like, I don't feel comfortable at all. And I transferred 100 Litecoins out of Bitfinex into GDAX. So GDAX has about 2850 sitting there. Still though, I mean, still to have 12,600 sitting on Bitfinex is still a little scary for me too. Especially it would be even a lot more scarier on Poloniex, where they're having all these issues where you can't really make transfers, you can't do withdrawals, denial of service attacks, trades not being able to place trades. Yeah, I would hate to be stuck on Poloniex, just having the majority of my funds there and not being able to utilize them, especially if you're in a position and it starts rising, it starts going up, and you're making big profits and you're looking to get out and you can't even get out. Let's see who's saying it's going to go down in about an hour. Jonathan, you could be right. You could be absolutely right. The type of move this has made, it needs that correction, and it really needs that correction back to $10. To be honest with you, I hate to say this for anybody that's buying, at this level, or anybody that bought at 1250, but she needs to come back to $10, and she needs to maintain that $10 without really breaking that support of $10, because really $10 is a new support based on a 1-day candlestick. So at $10, it should have a good amount of support. If it dips below that, it's looking at the $8 range, but she needs to come back down to at least $10 and have a nice little profit from 8 to 10. That's healthy, consolidate, and just slowly but surely, gradually move up. Like it's done basically here before it moved up to $7. I mean, these are smaller candlestick, smaller movements, but it was perfect movements to the upside. And then you basically have this crazy parabolic move that is just scary. It is very scary. Hey, thank you so much for the thumbs up. Thank you so much for the subscription. I appreciate it. I mean, like I said, you guys motivate me every day to do more of these videos. And that's why I'm going to stick to that commitment of Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays doing a 2-hour live stream, and hopes that there is some sort of price action, some sort of movement, and the market isn't very stagnant and not really moving. But I appreciate it, man. Thank you for the support. It's awesome. Max, I mean, you could probably research, Google it, and you'll read a lot of stuff why Polonius is a little shady. To be honest with you, I mean, people not being able to transfer funds. Who was it that's waiting over an hour for Ethereum transfer? That's a little ridiculous. The other day when they had a denial of service, where they said they had a denial of service attack, where people really couldn't log in, they couldn't transfer anything, they couldn't make any trades, they couldn't cancel their trades, and they've been having issues. That's not the first time that they've had this issue. It's been kind of an ongoing problem, periodically here and there, that just happens, and then all of a sudden people are losing money because they can't log in and sell on a downtrend, where they're locking in those profits. Yeah, 50. I can definitely see that happening. As long as Ethereum keeps going up, there's no reason that Ethereum Classic should be stuck where it is. So let's just say hypothetically, Ethereum gets up to 225, 250. Ethereum Classic should be making that move up to 25, 30, 50. Yeah, 50 is definitely a great price that it really belongs in. And that's as long as it gets there before the bubble pops. If it doesn't get there before the bubble pops and everything starts tanking, there's not much that we can do to get it up to that price. Nobody's going to be buying then. This is going to be people selling. And then, I mean, there are going to be people buying, people thinking, oh, this is the bottom. This is a great entry. And then what do you know? It just keeps dipping and dipping and dipping. ECS, nice. And I'll read this out for the people that are, like I said, watching this live stream after the fact, because you guys can't really read the comments. And I wish the comments would just carry over to like the comment section after the video has been uploaded. But ECS says, anytime Jonas says, to be honest with you, he's really being modest about the statement. I try to be as modest as I can. I think I caught up to all these messages now. Yes, ECS, and I'm glad you mentioned that. So who was asking me about why they were dodgy? I can't find the comment. Somebody was asking me, and I sorry that I forgot exactly who it was. But yeah, like ECS said, anytime something big happens in the market, whether there's a big move to the upside or there's a major correction with all altcoins that's happening, you're right. Poloniex mysteriously says, "Oh, we denial of service attack. Nobody can log in." As they're probably they're selling and buying coins that are cheap, because then really they're the only ones that are causing a price movement. If nobody can log in and the price is still moving, who's moving that price? It's not the retail investors that can't log into the system and place trades. It's Poloniex and their corporate executives and their employees that have probably a backdoor access to the platform that are able to place trades on the buy side or the sell side, or they're able to short, whatever it might be. But yes, they're the ones that are controlling the price action at that time, because nobody's able to log in and control the price action. So Logan, I just got to your message. You sold ETC and Gollum yesterday. It looks like you lost some more profit. Don't think about it that way, to be honest with you. That's going to cloud your judgment for your next trade. And I know, Logan, I mean, you've been with me since day one, and you've done very well with your trades, taking profits when they're there, and you've been very consistent with your trades. And that's really how you're going to be able to build that account up, is being consistent with your trades and locking in profits when they happen. And the mistake that I've made is in the past is I would lock in all the profit and then it keeps going up. So I completely changed my mentality to where leave a little bit on the table. Maybe leave the house money on the table, but take your capital out just so you preserve your capital, but you still have some of the profit that you've made in that coin for another move possibly to the upside, because really we don't know how far a cryptocurrency is going to go, or these altcoins are going to go, whether it's ETC, Gollum. I mean, we really can't determine that. I mean, if we all knew exactly where they would go, we would pile everything that we had into that altcoin, but we don't know at all. So being consistent with your trades and sticking to your plan and taking profits as they happen is really how you're going to grow that small account to something bigger. Now, it's not going to get big overnight or within a week or within a month, but continuously doing the same thing, because that's really what's working, you're going to see that account really grow in the long term. Yes, you might buy something and you don't stick to your plan and you end up hitting a home run and you make tons of money off of it. But then if you continuously keep doing that same exact thing, expecting to hit home runs, you're not going to hit home runs because you're not being consistent. That's basically gambling, to be honest with you. But if you're consistent with your plan, like you are, Logan, It's not gambling, in my opinion. So don't kick yourself, just because you left some profit on the table, and that's okay. You're not being greedy. It's okay to leave profit on the table. Like I said before, I would rather wish that I was in a trade than to wish I was out of that trade. Yeah, I mean, we all wish, wow, man, I wish I was in Bitcoin, you know. But let's just say hypothetically, I got into Bitcoin at 2000 and it starts to dip. I'm gonna wish that I was out of that trade if I didn't already get out of that trade. So any time of the day, I would rather wish I was in a trade because it's going up than to wish that I was actually out of that trade, if that makes sense at all. Yeah, and that's the best thing to do is wait for a dip to get back in. Nothing wrong with that at all. Now I'm kind of behind on some of these comments. Is Nexus legit? I don't know. Maybe some of you guys can answer that question for Jay. I don't think there are too many cryptocurrencies that are legit. Some of them are fake, pump and dump. It's a great action. It's a great price movement if you want to just take advantage of the trading. But I mean, all these cheap coins. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're scams or not. They're getting pumped, and you just can't fall in love with it at that point when it's getting pumped. It's like, you know what? I just made X amount of profit, whether it's 5%, 10%, 20%, 50%. Be happy with those profits because some of these coins can come down. Uh, I mean, I gave you guys a perfect example of GBG and how I got trapped in GBG yesterday. So, I mean, it can happen to anybody, and I'm trapped in that with over 50% loss. Um, but I didn't risk much. It was, 0.14 big BTCs, and that was basically just, funds that my kids had that I'm trying to build up something bigger for them. But yeah, I got trapped in it, and within 5 minutes, it pumped and came right back down to its price. It didn't sustain that type of pump at all. Yeah, ECS. I think those are long term. I think those are great hold. They definitely are. Not short term though. Like I said, I did buy Doji. I think I bought 100,000. I'll tell you guys exactly what I bought. I think it was like 100,000 Dojis, and that's going to be a long term hold for me. And that's why I put in just a crazy, greedy high sell price of 99,999 satoshis. Is it going to get there? Probably not, to be honest with you. Uh, but I put it there. Hey, you know what? If it gets up there, that's 150 BTCs that I would make off, point 0.24 BTCs. So let's see if Polonius actually allows me to log in. Yeah, so hopefully the audio and everything's working fine. Dylan, I just got your message. I hadn't looked at my phone, but yeah, it was cutting out. Google Hangout was just completely disconnecting for some apparent reason. Yeah, ECS, that's majority of my holding right now is USD. I completely cashed out of Litecoin, took my profit. Yeah, I could have made a lot more profit if I would have stuck with it. But I sold at 28.58 basically, and it ran up to 31.58, something to that extent. All right, so let's see. I have how much Doji? $1,583. $100. Yeah, I wish. 158,939 Doji is what I have. So I put that high sell price of 99,999 satoshis. So if it ever gets there, which I doubt it will, it'd be great. That would give me 158.93 BTCs. That would be huge. But I have a feeling that they could easily pump Doji up to the 500 Satoshi range. And considering it really didn't break down and stay broken down, I mean, it went up to 1,000. I'm sorry, yeah, 1,000. Be a good one. 189 satoshis. It went up to that. That was a high that it kind of set and came down to 103 or 102 satoshis. Now, if I didn't believe that there was going to be another pump or another run up, this thing would have come down to that 100 satoshis and maintained that 100 satoshis, to be honest with you. But considering it's really bounced up from that 102 satoshis to go up to 175 satoshis, I mean, this is a nice uptrend. It really is, from hitting that 102 satoshis from coming down from 189. So if another pump is going to happen, this is primed for another pump, considering where it's currently at now. Now, if it was still stuck in the 100 Satoshi range, I would say, you know what, there might be more of a downtrend, to be honest with you. But considering it's come back from that low that it made of 102 Satoshis back up to 160, 153 Satoshis, it's going to have another pump, and it could have another 100 pump to bring it up to 300 Satoshis. But I mean, we've seen some of these altcoins, get pumped 200, 300, 400%. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's a long-term hold for my kids. I mean, my goal in the beginning was to each, because I have 3 kids, to give them each 1 BTC and put it on a hardware wallet. But if Doji ends up working out to where it gets up to that 100,000 Satoshi range, then they will have definitely a lot more than the 3 sitting on a hardware wallet for them. Till BTC dips. Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen, ECS. It's going to happen. I mean, as well as I know, it's a matter of time. We will see. But the time is coming. It's just a matter of being prepared and being ready and having funds on the sideline to be able to take advantage of that crazy dip. But just as long as you don't catch a falling knife, because when you catch a falling knife, it just rips right through your hands and keeps dipping and dipping and dipping. You really have to wait. Well, depending on the candlesticks too, because a lot of times with some of these candlesticks, when they make that major dip, they do start to kind of level out and start to curl, and that's kind of what you want to look for. You don't want to be catching a candlestick when the opening price of the current candlestick is lower than the previous candlestick's closing price, because then you're trying to catch a falling knife. You're not waiting for it to level out, so you really got to wait for it to level out. And then you can kind of see it, if you're looking at it very granular, maybe on the 1 minute or 5 minute chart, you'll see it start to curving to the upside a little bit. And that's a perfect time to kind of look at it and take a position. Yeah, Max, and I think yet is the magic word. Yet.